Education, say it with me. Education. Say it again. 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 Education.
We'd like to visit Senator Berger. Okay. Come on. How y'all doing?
Very well.
Good. Maybe nobody's home. Do you want to try? Maybe I didn't get it right. Senator Berger, we'd like to meet with you.
Senator Berger, we're here on behalf of the teachers. We're here on behalf of the children of North Carolina. We're your constituents. We would like you to hear us, sir.
So there's a number of folks that are here today to see Senator Berger. I'll introduce myself, and then we can have people have a meeting. Have other people come and share why it is that they're here. We're going to wait here until Senator Berger comes to meet with us. So my name is Brian Prophet. I'm a high school teacher at Hillside High in Durham, North Carolina. I'm a 10-year veteran in the classroom. I teach history, and I'm here because my kids deserve the best quality education that they can get. And we're creating a system in North Carolina where low-income students, students of color, and any kid that can't afford private school is headed for disaster. And so I'm here to stand up for my kids. I'm here to fight for my schools and my communities.
I'm here because education is the way out of poverty. Education is the way to better support yourself and your family.
There are too many children around North Carolina who are learning that no matter how hard their parents work, there's never enough food to eat. There's still struggle. There's never enough time to cuddle and read a book, the things that they need in order to be prepared for school. And so I'm here today for all of my kids at my school.
And I'm here because I want to see my students have those same opportunities. I want to see them succeed and live fulfilling lives.
And I'm also here today because I believe in participatory democracy. And so we're here not just about our teacher issues, but we don't want our money, this raise that they're trying to offer us, we don't want that money being stolen from our students, parents, and others in our community.
Yes.
That's right.
I'm here because I believe that when my students are in danger, my job is to protect them. And right now, my students are in danger. They're in danger of losing their teachers, their TAs, their bus drivers, their school nurses. They're in danger of losing quality education. And it's my job as a teacher, my first job, to keep my students safe.
We have a duty, a moral duty, to educate our young and to strengthen them so they can be able to be contributing members of society and work for the good of the many. I'm here on their behalf, on the behalf of my daughter and my colleagues who are afraid to stand up for their rights, who are demoralized by consistent attacks on education.
I believe that education is a human right, that if you have a good, sound, quality education, that you can succeed in life and that you can have opportunities to get out of poverty. And that is why I'm here, because I think that the attacks on public education, especially higher public education, are unacceptable.
As a pastor, I think it's important to connect
the history of education in our country and the church's role in pushing and creating many of our early educational institutions so that we might all be educated and form a civil society.
We know that today, on our way down the hallway, that Senator Berger is in the building and the doors were shut on us. The doors were shut on us on our way here. We know his staff is in the building, and we know that he is in the building here. We are going to remain here until he comes to meet with us. We're demanding that the budget cuts stop, that revenue is restored to public education. The cuts must stop. The cuts are not sustainable. We cannot keep up doing quality education day after day in the classroom at this level of funding.
And as a parent, how many kids at one time can you listen to, provide full attention to, nurture, love, inspire, and teach at one time? What we need in North Carolina to improve educational outcomes is more human resources in the classroom, not fewer. We need a teaching assistant at the side of every teacher in North Carolina.
My parents moved from Nashville, Tennessee, in part to escape extremist politics and to find an affordable education. You can only imagine their disappointment in this legislative session. So I'm here to push back against rising tuition and to push for equality, specifically tuition equality, in all of our schools.
Among the list of people who, when I was a kid, really changed my life were my parents, my grandparents, maybe my minister at church, and my favorite teachers. They're hugely important figures. They were for me, and they are for all my classmates. So I think it's really sad, and it makes me feel ashamed as a North Carolinian that Justin, who was one of the most important figures in my young life, represents a group of people that is ranked 47th in the nation in teacher pay. I think that's a shame. I think that I would rather live in a state that values their public servants.
They're attacking the wrong people. It doesn't make any sense to me that you're attacking students like Joseph, you're attacking teachers like myself and the teachers that are here today, TAs, nurses. It doesn't make any sense to me. And it doesn't make any sense to me that you're coming out with these great policies of teacher pay raises by taking money from education to pay for my pay raise. I don't want that. That's wrong. And I think that Phil Berger and company needs to hear us and needs to talk to us and be open to this conversation. Enough is enough.
And I'm here today because I want to live in a North Carolina where your learning and your opportunity and your health have nothing to do with where you come from or what you look like or who you love or how much your parents make. And I think that quality public education is central to that vision, and I came here today to talk to Senator Berger about that vision, but the door is closed. So we here are going to sit here and wait to meet with Senator Berger.
Right now, Emilio Vicente is going to come up to school the NCGA on immigration and immigration reform. But we have a little problem here. One of our students seems to have cut class. You know who that student is? Phil skipped class. 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 And we gonna call your mama.
And Phil, who skipped class, he's about to miss the most fun part, right? Our friend Aiden over here has provided lunches for the group. Right?
I'm Chief Weaver with Jones Assembly Police. If you were to meet with Pro Tem Berger, would you be willing to leave after that meeting?
We're asking for a promise that he consider the things we outlined.
If the senator met with us, then we would huddle and talk about that.
Have a discussion with him. That's my question to you.
Here's what we'd like to do and what we'll commit to. What we've said is that we'd like to have a meeting, and then we'd like to hear his responses to this, and then have an opportunity to check in with each other and decide what's next from there.
Let me make that presentation.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'll cut you a little bit aside.
Listen, why don't we get some of these couches and get them in a circle or something? We'll sit down and talk. Thank you. Can y'all help us with that?
That's fine. I don't know.
This is the last time I'm telling you. If you are not a member of the Capitol Press Corps and you don't leave this building, I'm going to arrest you.
All right, you got everybody?
Okay, why do they get to stay and talk to Senator Berger then, but I don't?
Office in this building.
The teachers that are up there have an office in this building?
They don't.
So why are they getting to stay and I'm not? I'm just curious.
They won't be staying much longer.
So on behalf of the group of public educators and our allies and students that met with us here today, we just want to say a couple of things really quickly about our conversation. One, it's incredibly discouraging that when we showed up to Senator Berger's office, the door was locked. Right? I think this represents a continued locking out of people that this administration, that this General Assembly has represented for years now. So I think that's an important point. He did correct that point and came and had a conversation with us. We sat down at the end after a long teach-in that engaged a couple of hundred folks. I think people learned a lot of really exciting things tonight, particularly about democracy. So we sat down, we had a good conversation, which to my understanding, this is the first time that this has happened in this kind of way in the last couple of years. And so I think it represents a win for the movement because I think we put enough pressure on them that they realize they have to have a real conversation with us. In that conversation, there were really big differences between how Senator Berger defined what the direction of the state and the ways to move public education forward, and those of us that are in the buildings every day, how we define the direction of the state and what we need in order to move our buildings forward every day. And our argument is that the people who are doing the work every day, the people who are in there every day, we're the experts, and that we should be engaged in the conversation in a much different way than we have been. So to those ends, we put forward 3 specific requests. And I'll lay those out for y'all and share with y'all what his response was. So one, we argued that all of the funding that is cut for teaching assistants in the current Senate budget be put back in. Every bit of it. Every bit of it. As classroom teachers, a lot of us, we're unwilling to accept that our pay raises come on the backs of our kids and the people who are in there with our kids every single day. Our students need teaching assistants as much as they need high quality, well-paid, stable, lived teachers. So that was our first demand. On that, he said that if we brought a proposal to him by the end of the week with some ways that we could argue where that funding would come from, that they would be willing to consider it. We had an immediate answer, which was raise revenue. Repeal the tax cuts for the wealthiest North Carolinians that are starving this state out. In response to that solution, he argued that that was not something that he was willing to consider. So we'll have the conversation, we'll bring some proposals, but I can pretty much guarantee that the first one's going to be raise revenue. So that's the first proposal. The second proposal is take the elimination of career status off the table. It is unacceptable. It is unacceptable to make teachers choose between having more stable economic and family lives and the ability to advocate for our students and speak up for our students and to do our jobs as professionals and feel safe doing what we need to do every single day. It's an untenable choice, just like the example that he raised about Johnson County, which is choosing to use TA funds for buses rather than TAs, right? If that's true, I don't live in Johnson County, but if that's true, and he's saying that that's the fault of Johnson County, I would argue that's the fault of the budget makers who are making people make those choices, and we refuse to make those choices. So his response to that, I believe, was that he was unwilling to consider, he supports that Senate proposal, that Senate budget. He supports that choice and forcing teachers to make a choice between economic stability and the ability to feel safe in our professional lives. That's the choice that he's demanding that teachers make, and he feels pretty unwilling to budge on that. The third was we feel like with the approval ratings for this General Assembly being as low as they are, that to have a real conversation about where things are headed in North Carolina, we need to open the floor back up. Yes. And there's a Moral Monday on Monday, November 23rd, I'm sorry, it's been a long day. Monday, June 23rd, and NCAE is already planning on a gathering of people coming here on Wednesday, June 25th. So the context is created where we can open up a statewide dialogue about public schools. We can use online forums to get there and social media, and we can bring people to Raleigh, and we can set up workshops all over town where people are coming to sit with their legislators and talk about what our public schools need. We're willing to come up with bold proposals for communicating what it is our schools need. He said he's willing to meet with us. We're going to have a conversation tomorrow to set up that meeting, and we're going to confer with other folks that were involved in the decision-making process tonight to come up with a group of people who are going to sit down, who are going to call his office tomorrow and set up that meeting. To be very clear, every single person up here was willing to walk out of this office in handcuffs tonight. Yes. We're committed to that. If that's what the choice has to be, then that's what the choice has to be. So we'll be back if these conditions are not met. And the reality is with all the media attention we're getting right here and all the conversation, we're going to be back with a whole lot more folks. Yeah.